Last week we began to talk about why people started to move west. Some were Mormons who were seeking a place to live in peace. Others just wanted to see what the rest of America had to offer. Further still, many believed that it was their right to settle the entire United States. This was called manifest destiny. This week we're going to talk about the daily life of American pioneers on the dusty trail west. You already know that people back then had to make almost everything by hand. They could buy a few staples like flour, sugar, coffee, and salt pork. They could not, however, buy much else, especially not fresh produce. One thing pioneers could not buy was dairy products. Some pioneers took their cows west with them. If they wanted butter, it was up to them. Today, we're going to learn how to make butter just the way the pioneers would. Step 1. Get the cream. If you were a pioneer, you would milk your own cow to get the cream. I don't have a cow, so we're going to have to pretend. Step 2. You'll need a good-sized mason jar with a nice, tight-fitting lid. The pioneers wouldn't have used mason jars. They would have used a sealed bucket. Then you'll put the heavy whipping cream, or cream, into the tight-fitting mason jar. There we go. Pioneers would have churned their butter one of two ways. Either they would have taken their sealed bucket and a flat paddle and churned the butter by hand, or they would strap the sealed bucket onto the underside of their wagon and let the jolting of the wagon churn the butter for them. We are going to hand churn our butter today. The pioneers would have had a large wooden bucket with a stick that fitted through a hole in the top of the bucket. At the end of the stick was a large flat paddle. The pioneers would push the stick up and down, and the paddle would swish through the cream, aggravating it and eventually forming butter. We're going to aggravate our cream by shaking the jar. Take turns with a friend shaking the jar in your hands. After a few minutes, your aggravated cream will look like whipped cream. Keep going, you're almost done. Continue to shake, and the cream will become grainy and separate from the liquid. You can see the grains are starting to get fatter. Keep shaking and your butter will form a nice lump. Now you can see the butter surrounded by the buttermilk. This is how you make butter. Pioneers would save the buttermilk to drink or use in other recipes. Butter was used on fresh baked bread, cornbread, or anything else you would normally put butter on. Try some of the butter you made. It's not as flavorful as store-bought butter because we did not add salt. It is still delicious though, and you made it completely on your own, just like a pioneer.